Hi, welcome to my channel. This is going to be my very first video on my YouTube channel. I decided I wanted my January reading wrap-up to be my first video just because I felt like, I don't know, I felt like that'd be perfect. It's the first month in the year, starting it off with the January reading wrap-up. I just feel like that's perfect. So that's what we're doing. Now, before we get into the actual books that I read and talking about them, I want to start off with like some stats, like just general stats. Put everything on the screen, see if I like that, maybe leave enough room. I'm not sure how all the editing is gonna go, but I kind of want my videos to be kind of cozy and feel like we're on FaceTime, just because I feel like that's fun and I like YouTube videos like that, and I'm only doing these for fun, so might as well have fun while doing them. As for the genres, I read 1 romance, 5 fantasy, 1 other, and then 3 dark romance. So I read a total of 10 books, which is really good. Now, as for my favorite and my least favorite book, my favorite book was A Ballad of Phantoms and Hope. Oh my god, I'm obsessed with this woman. Anything this woman writes, perfection. All 3 of the books that I've read by her so far, all 5 stars. I love her. I'm obsessed with her. Now, for my least favorite book, the only reason why this is my least favorite book is only because it's a novella. And I feel like novellas can't really compete with regular novels because they're so short and like so tiny. So it's not that I didn't like this book. It's just, it was so short. But it's Unite Me from the Shatter Me series. I really liked this novella. It was really cute. Just not my absolute favorite out of the whole month. Now, for how I read these books, I have 4 on Kindle, 5 paperback, and then 1 as an audiobook. I've been trying to get into audiobooks because when I'm cleaning and then like when I'm doing something like artsy or crafty, like I like listening to something. So I've been listening to audiobooks while I've been doing said things, and I'm really enjoying it. I actually really like it, and I'm also loving the Shatter Me series as an audiobook. It's so good, so good. I literally found it on YouTube and it's for free. So if you want to listen to the Shatter Me series and you haven't read it yet, it is for free on YouTube, so you don't have to pay for it. Now, as for how many pages I read a total of 3,695 pages this month, which is insane to me. I know a lot of other people read probably more pages than like in total, but like that's a lot. Like I feel like I'm not adding up the numbers. I'm just thinking, oh, this is a 300-page book. This is a 200-page book. Like, you know, I'm not really like, I don't know. Now that we have the stats out of the way, I'm going to get started in the books that I read this month. This month actually is also my birthday month, so I feel like I read a lot of good books this month for being my birthday month. I got a total of 3 5-stars, I believe. I think 3 5-stars. And I had 1 DNF. But I started this year where I wanted to actually like DNF books that I'm not enjoying, or I know I'm not going to enjoy, or I'm only going to give 3 stars. I'm like, there's no point in me reading this if I'm not gonna love it or be obsessed with it. Like, there are gonna be some books that I do give like 3 stars and I do finish them. It's just, if I'm not obsessed with a book, I'm DNFing. I don't care, because there are too many books that I want to read for me not to DNF a book that I'm not obsessed with. We're gonna start with the DNF just to get it out the way. Starting off with the book that I DNF'd, it's Skeleton King by Charity B. Now, I got only 50 pages into this book, and it wasn't bad. I like the atmosphere. I like where we were going with the story. I just can't get behind him doing it with a corpse. I can't get behind that. I don't really get turned away from like dark, twisted stuff, but like that was just one thing I can't. Like, I just can't get behind it. I don't know why. So I DNF'd her, sadly. I really wanted to enjoy her, but I just couldn't. Ugh. Now, for the first actual book that I read this month, I read A House of Devils. This is the first book in the series, which is A City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards. I love this book. This book was so good. I think it was a really good way to start the series. It's 700 pages, so it took me the whole month to finish this book because it's just so long. But I really enjoyed it, and I'm really excited. I feel like the second book is going to be so good, and I can't wait to start the second book. But I really like this one. This one's very urban fantasy. I gave this book 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was really, really good. Spice level, I would probably give it like 2 chili peppers. It wasn't super, super spicy, but I liked it. It was really good. Got like wolves, vampires, stuff like that, warlocks, like things like that. So in a fantasy, but like it's set in like real world, if that makes any sense. I really liked it. It's a vampire story, so if you like vampires, I think you'll really like this. Darien Castle. I love the way this man talks. I love the way this man talks. If you like urban fantasies, you like vampires, you like wolves, you like that kind of stuff, a little bit of high stakes, a little bit of mystery thrown in there, I really think you will enjoy this one. The next one I read was Barbarian's Mate by Ruby Dixon. Now, a lot of people don't like these books. They think they're cheesy, whatever. Just, they get a lot of hate. I actually love them. I think they're great palette cleansers. I think they're really fun. Like if you want like a fun time, you want to binge a book in like literally a day or two, and you want something smutty, you want like a little bit of plot, but a lot of smut, you like alien smut. If you want something bingeable, I think these books are really good. I love them personally. I give this book 3 stars. I never thought I was into like monster romances, but these aliens just do something for me. This is my favorite book of the entire month, A Ballad of Phantoms and Hope. I loved her. I literally loved her so much. 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. So freaking good. I read The Fabric of Our Souls in December and I gave that 5 stars. Perfection. That was my first time I've ever read a book by this author. And she's literally perfect. I love her writing. I love her characters. I love her world. I love everything about her books. I've only read 3 books by her so far, but she is literally perfection. She is my second favorite author, right under H.D. Carlton. I don't think anyone can top H.D. Carlton. When the day comes that someone tops H.D. Carlton's writing, I will be pleasantly surprised. But this lady knows how to write an emotional, gut-wrenching, dark romance with a little bit of mystery thrown in there, because they have mystery and I love everything about it. Oh my god, I'm obsessed with the characters. I just love everything about it. Literally loved it so much that as soon as I finished it, I bought this beautiful cover. Look how pretty. I love her. And this is the one that I read off of. As you can tell, I definitely enjoy her. It's just, oh my god. Lanston. I love him. I'm gonna cry thinking about it. Also, I never cry when I read like books. Like I'm not a big crier. It's only a few books that have ever actually made me cry. Hunting Adeline, which is the second book in that duology, the first book in this little series, which is The Fabric of Our Souls, and this one. Like they made me sob like a baby just because like I feel like I connected with them on like a different level, and they just, oh, they mean everything to me, and the characters mean everything to me, and I love everything about these. Everything about these characters. I definitely say check the trigger warnings. It's very emotional, it's very gut-wrenching, and it's very like trauma-filled, and it's very dark. But like her writing, Fabric of Our Souls, and this one, literally her writing is like, if you were to look inside my head, she writes how I feel, but it's like you don't know how to say it out loud, but she writes it like perfectly on like how you would feel about it, and she makes you feel so seen. Oh, it's gonna make me cry again. But I love her books. I love her books. And oh my god, also, I didn't even tell you this, I bought this from her website, which I will be buying more. It's signed. I read The Hunted Heir, which is by Holly Renee. I really, really enjoyed this book. I gave this book a 4 stars. This book was so good. Second book in this trilogy, I believe this is going to be. The third one comes out, I think in April. I know it's this year, but I just can't remember what month it is. But I really enjoyed her. She was really good. I gave her 4 stars. I think I gave the first book 4.5 or 4 stars as well. Now, these are fantasy. These are romantasy. I would say more romance than fantasy, but I will say these are not top tier fantasy. These are not the best writing in the world. It's just like Ice Planet Barbarian. If you want a fun time, you want to get immersed in a world, leave the real world behind just for a little bit, these are the perfect book. If you want to finish a book in a day, this is the perfect series for you. Both of these books I finished in one day for each of them because they're so bingeable and like you don't want to put them down. It's not the best writing, but I loved her nonetheless. And also these covers are beautiful, so I'm gonna do these two together just because they're part of the same series. So I started the Shadow Me series last year and decided I need to pick up the series again. I need to finish it this year. So I listened to Unravel Me and I read Ignite Me, which is 2 novellas in it, in between the first book and this book. I really enjoyed these. These are really good. I will say I'm not going to read any more of the novellas. I personally don't see a point in reading the novellas because it's just a point of view. It's the same thing that's happening. It's just a different point of view. And I really honestly could care less about the point of view. So, sue me. But I'm just going to read like the actual books. I'm currently listening to Ignite Me right now, which is so good so far. I'm loving it. But I gave the novella 2 stars just because it's a novella. I don't really feel like it's going to get a higher ranking than 3. And then I gave Unravel Me 4 stars. I really enjoy these. These are really good. They're dystopian novels. So basically, how to describe this is if you've seen Divergent and like that movie series, this is what it's giving. It's in a world that is no longer a world, but it's still the real world. And you have fractions and things like that. So if you like Divergent kind of movies, I think you'll really like these. These are really fun time. Again, the writing is not perfection, but like I love the way the writing feels because it feels like you're reading her journal. So it feels like you're reading her just writing all of her thoughts down, which I don't know why, but like that just like itches something in my brain, you know? I read a poetry book, which I loved because some of these like I just love poetry books every now and then just to read them because they're fun and they're cutesy. And yeah, I don't give poetry books ratings just because I don't feel like you can rate a poetry book, you know? Let me read you a poem. Ooh, this is a really good one for if you have anxiety. I feel like this is like a perfect like representation if you have anxiety and like how you can kind of describe it to people if they don't have anxiety and they don't understand how it feels. There are days where triggers are around every corner, lurking in shadows where darkness spills heavy breaths and tight chests. Anxiety is a devastating thing. No matter how many times you are told to breathe, it feels as though the air has all but thinned. And despite every logical reason to remain calm, you feel like a ship without its sails in the middle of a raging storm. H.G. Carlton came out with Miss Gigi's book, and literally anything that this woman writes, I will read. I would read her grocery list. I would read anything that she wrote. One sentence, I would read it 5 stars. Obviously, this book is 5 stars because everything that she writes is perfect. I love her. She can do no wrong in my eyes. Argue with the wall if you disagree. A lot of people are mad at the fact that it didn't end with their full story because if you have read Hunting and Haunting Adeline, this is the story of Gigi, which is Adeline's grandma, or great-grandmother. No, is she her grandma? Yeah, it's her grandma. Her grandma. This is her story, Gigi's story. Now, if you have read Hunting and Haunting Adeline, you know how Gigi's story ends, and it's sad and depressing. In H.G. Carlton, she's literally said she does not like to write sad endings. She wants all of her books to end with a happy ending. The only one that is that exception is Haunting Adeline, because if you read the books, you would understand the timeline. It makes sense. But as for all of her books, like ending, like fully ending, none of them have a sad ending because she doesn't like to write sad endings, which I don't think I would either if I was an author. So Gigi's book kind of ends kind of like abruptly, only because she doesn't want to end it in a sad way. She wants you to remember Renardo and Gigi as like in this certain way. So that's why she didn't end it in the sad way that we know how it actually ends. Does that make any sense? I don't know, but I love it. Basically, just so I don't spoil anything, because if you haven't read the Hunting and Haunting Adeline, you're not going to fully understand, and that'll spoil things that happen in there, so I'm not going to do that. But basically, Gigi has this journal she writes in all the time. We read said journal in Hunting and Haunting Adeline that Adeline was trying to figure out, because Gigi was hinting towards things in her journal. So Adeline in those 2 books was figuring out the mystery of what happened to Gigi, how she died, whatever. This is the story of when Gigi was alive. So how everything happened when she was alive that we were trying to figure out in her journal. We have all the answers here, if that makes any sense. And Renardo is in a gang, and this does have the cheating trope. So if you don't like the cheating trope, you're probably not gonna like this. But she's married to a man, and Renardo is her affair. She has an affair with Renardo. So, and he's in a gang. So there's that, and she's a stay-at-home wife, and she has a kid, and yeah, it's really good. I love everything about this book. So listen, all I'm saying is this month was a banger. I had a banger after a banger after a banger. If this month tells me anything what 2025's reading is going to be like, I'm so excited. I can't wait. So I hope it's going to be good because this month was so good. I read Leave Me Behind, which is a dark romance, military romance. So they're both in like, not the FBI, but it's kind of like the FBI because they're in like secret services. They're in the FBI, but it's not the FBI because nobody knows that they exist. They're undercover, and they do these missions for people because of how like kind of sick-minded they are. And basically they're the only people that can do these missions. She ends up being with his squad and becomes one of his squad members because his second in commander passed away, and then her entire squad passed away. And so they were formed to work together. There's a mystery in it that I didn't like. It threw me off when this one thing happened, when this one person showed up in the book. I was like, what? This book 5 stars. I loved everything about her. She was perfect. I just love her writing. Her writing is so good, and like it's so immersive that like I get lost in the book and like I don't want to put it down and I want to keep reading. That's how I know a book is 5 stars, when like I'm obsessed with the characters. I'm thinking about the characters when I put the book down. I can't put the book down. Like I want to constantly read. If I have to do something, I'm thinking about picking up the book again. That's how I know it's 5 stars. And this gave me. Now for my last book, I read Falling Away by Penelope Douglas. I loved her. I definitely think this is not my favorite book by Penelope Douglas, but I'm trying to go through her backlist. But my dumbass didn't look to see if this was a part of a series. This is a part of a series, just so you know, so you don't pull a me, okay? This is the 4th book in a series. Now they're all standalone, so you don't have to read them in exactly order. When I read this book, I had no idea that it was a series, so that tells you don't have to read them. So if you don't want to, you don't have to. But this is the 4th book in a series. They're standalones, and I really enjoyed them. It's found family, which is really good. It's not dark romance. I feel like this is just a regular romance because it doesn't really have dark like aspects in it. She got arrested because of an incident that happened with her ex-boyfriend, so she comes back to her old small town that she left for community service, and she's met back with Jax. I think it's her best friend's boyfriend's brother, I think is who he is, and like she's basically forbidden from him, and like she doesn't go for him, but like they've had a thing for each other, and they've always had a thing for each other. And like if you like acts of service, this man does things behind her back without her ever knowing. Even when she was away in like at college and she was dating another guy, he was doing things for her that she never knew, and that like you would never think that he would have done. It's literally so sweet. This book 4 stars. I loved her. I also did order the other 3 books in the series because I want to read the rest of them, just because I really love the found family in this series and I want to read the rest of their stories. Overall, I had a really good reading month and I really had a lot of fun reading. I'm currently in the middle of 3 books right now. I'm listening to Ignite Me, I'm reading Daughter of No Worlds, and I'm also reading Flock, the Ravenhood series. I'm loving the Ravenhood series. Ignite Me, loving that. And then Daughter of No Worlds, I'm only like maybe 20% of the way through it, so I don't really have I haven't read enough to have an opinion on it yet, but I am super excited for that because everyone says that series is really good. But that is what I read in the month of January. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.